Well, welcome back. And we're still here at the Olympic Stadium here, which we've just been talking about. Now we're going to discuss another aspect of what might concern us over the course of these games, and this is to do with a recent article published in the Daily Mail by the country's sort of official pundit on UFOs, who's always called out to deal with these problems. My friend and your friend, Nick Pope. Now, what has old Pope had to say, Chris?
He's not my friend, I'd just like to say that. I'll get that on camera. Well, yeah, he was in the Daily Mail last week, and essentially he was talking about a false flag alien attack. Well, no, he wasn't talking about false flag because he doesn't do conspiracies. He was talking about a proper alien attack. Now, the press in the last sort of couple of years have suddenly been taking alien stories seriously, whereas for years and years before that it was just all, you know, take the piss, hocus pocus sort of stuff. And now they're having people like Nick Pope, who they say is, you know, he spent 20 years at the MOD. Well, you know, he must be a truth teller, you know. Take this guy seriously. And so Pope was going on about these, you know, the potential of an alien attack, and I think it's connected with justifying the security measures, because people will sort of subliminally or subconsciously take it in, and even though they think alien attack, that's a bit weird, isn't it? They will, in their own minds, possibly justify this outrageous security measures. You know, where it's going to turn into, you know, Nazi Germany overnight. Like
it's interesting that in the last couple of months, or the last couple of years, we've had a lot of videos such as the Battle of Los Angeles, and a few years before there was Independence Day, and these other films that are all about that very subject. They suddenly come out after many decades. The theme wasn't really explored much, and now we have this theme of nasty aliens coming down and attacking us in a kind of terrorist, apocalyptic style. Now, as you know, I mean, I think the Illuminati are getting desperate. They're getting desperate to bring in their new world order, and a lot of the stuff they've tried so far hasn't really worked as well as they thought. Now, there's always a risk, of course, that any more extreme action on their part would work even less. But sorry, I'll just cover the microphone a bit. But they may decide to just go for broke and take their chances, do something really extreme, you know. And so what was Nick Pope's actual quote? Just get in front of the microphone.
I think this said it all about Nick Pope, really, and where he's coming from and where this story was coming from, because there was a quote from him which said, "The logical course..."
So can I use this as a windbreak?
Yeah, sure. "The logical course is to unite the world." Unite the world against the alien threat, combining our military strength and fighting under the United Nations.
Whoa! It couldn't be more obvious, could it?
Yeah, let's get together, the New World Order, World Army, World Government, everything like that. Yeah, you've done your paymasters well, Nick. Nick,
you're being too obvious, mate. No one's going to. You know, you're not being subtle enough. You know, it's just too. You're giving the game away now. You know, it's just too in your face there, mate. I tell you, you really are.
I'm not convinced that they are going to do a fake alien attack, though. I mean, even though if they do something, I'm sure they've got the technology, but I just don't think the world's ready for it. One of the things that makes me think that is, that's if it's true, of course. Werner von Braun, who was the Nazi scientist who developed the V2 rocket and then was taken over in Project Paperclip over to the United States and worked for NASA, and helped with the moon
he was a hero.
Space rocket technology.
He was a hero, wasn't he? He was a household name in America.
But apparently shortly before he died, he did an interview with someone.
Carol Rosin.
And he said that what the powers that be are going to do, they're going to use. So I think it was firstly maybe I think it was Russia. Talked about
the Cold War.
Yeah,
which was going on at the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Cold War was going, but he said Russia. Then he said they used terrorism.
Yeah, that's an interesting prediction, because he did this interview in 1977, long before 9/11 and all that. But he, in a sense, was predicting the Cold War being stopping and something else being used in its place.
Yeah, but he said the final thing that they would use to try and get the one world government, order, New World Order, whatever, would be an alien attack, a fake alien attack.
Yeah.
Now, who knows? These people may well do it, but I don't think so, because what I think he's missed out there is, in between there, is World War III. I think World War III would come before the alien attack, but who knows? Because let's face it, the people in charge of the world are absolute nutcases. They're not like us at all.
No.
So who knows? They might even do the fake alien attack this time, but I just can't see it.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. I don't think people have been programmed enough with it.
No, it could be. I mean, what Nick Pope's motives are, I don't know. He may be just taking a mickey. I don't know. I mean, because basically the things that he's just said in the Daily Mail is something that many other researchers, like Ian R. Crane, and as I said, Carol Rosin, we've already discussed, they've actually been saying this for years, and Nick has said this in the Daily Mail. Basically, he's almost repeating their words. The only difference is Nick is claiming it'll be a real alien attack, not a fake one. Now, what people like Ian and Carol Rosin have been saying is, if you see alien-like things in the sky and the government tell you it's real, don't believe it. It's probably not real aliens. So it's a bit strange. It's hard to know, like you say, it's hard to know what goes on there, because they're not human. They may appear in human bodies, but they're not human. They don't think like humans. They have no conscience. But as you see, I mean, who knows? I mean, what could happen here? I mean, in 8 weeks' time, in the skies above this arena here in London, God knows what could happen. I mean,
yeah,
or even around in London.
You get a bit concerned when I mean, it hasn't been reported in this press, but there was a Jewish or Israeli newspaper that reported that Mossad were taking part in training exercises in the Olympic Stadium.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's just like putting the fox in charge of the hen house, isn't
Yeah,
it? Really?
that is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, anything there near is going to be trouble.
Yeah.
I think this is where I might have got my wires crossed over the Israeli involvement in the security business.
Right.
I mean, they are involved in training, but then that could be. I mean, anything Mossad touches, is trouble. I mean, they are Annie Michon and David Shayler. I mean, they say that the people in the CIA and the MI5, even the most hardest nuts in the intelligence services, they go cold when people mention the name of Mossad. They absolutely do. So, and what could happen here? I mean, it could be, like I said, it could be this fake alien invasion. It may even be a real one. Unlikely. Assume it's fake if it does happen. It could be some kind of bombing, some kind of attack, some kind of biological weapon, or it could be what we were discussing. The most likely thing could be just a very near miss. Like the famous baby bottle bomber on the plane.
It's possible that they've got such a control of people's minds via the mainstream media that they don't even need to blow stuff up anymore. They could just plant a bomb, which they could then say, oh, we've had it examined, and it would have taken out the whole of London. Isn't it good that we had all these security measures and we need these security measures from now on?
Yeah.
So they could just do that.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, there was the Rockefeller Foundation report from 2010, which stated it was looking back on the decade of 2010 to 2020. And I think it called it something like the gloom decade or something like that. And the report said that after the terrorist attack on the Olympic Stadium in 2012, which killed 13,000 people.
Oh.
So that was in the Rockefeller Foundation report. Now, they might just be messing with people.
Yeah.
But if something does kick off, I'll tell you. I'll put my life on it that the Rockefellers won't be being investigated by any agencies.
Yeah, and I know some of you might be
help to control these agencies.
Exactly. Some of you might be thinking, well, that's just a contingency plan. It's just a kind of a fictionalization, which they always do if they're doing these drills and scenarios. But in fact, the truth of the matter is, there's been other situations, in fact, at least twice now, with 9/11 and with 7/7, where the scenario designed by companies and governments in drills has turned into reality. As you know, with the Peter Power and Visor consultants and their, the Operation Silver, Operation whatever it was on 9/11.
There were various operations, weren't there? Operation Vigilant Guardian and stuff like that. Also, there's I think it was in 2008, there was a program on TV called Spooks Code 9.
Yes.
And this has been on a couple of videos on YouTube talking about potential terrorist attacks at the Olympics. And it said that there was, it had an episode where the Olympic Stadium was blown up. And 100,000 people died.
Yes, I remember that very well. Spooks is actually a spin-off from the original Spooks series. Now, interestingly, Spooks was released, I think, in February 2002 on BBC. It first appeared on the screens in February 2002. A similar program in the United States called 24 appeared in, I think, either October or November 2001. Now, interestingly, if you don't know how much you know about films and TV, but it takes at least a year or more to design and write, produce, do the production design, the casting, the rehearsals, the set, and everything else, the sets and the studios, and then shoot the film and then edit it. It takes at least a year to do all that. So from the moment someone says, I'm going to make this TV series about this, it's at least a year at the minimum before it actually appears on the screens. So what it means that 24 and Spooks were both envisioned before 9/11. They'd have to be. So in a sense, they struck while the iron was hot, but the blacksmith was blindfolded. That's what basically happened. So is that a coincidence? Another coincidence to add to the list?
Just on the Spooks theme, the production company that made Spooks is called Kudos Films.
Oh.
And if you go onto their website, Kudos, it's either Kudos, I think it is actually Kudos, because they're part of a group called Shine Media. And it's either the Shine Media Group or the Kudos, and you go onto the website and they have a video that you can play, but the still on the video is a one eye.
Oh, that's strange.
Also, Kudos were the company that made the series Ashes to Ashes.
Well, I've not seen that.
Now, this was I think it was a couple of years ago that it was on. And it was very sort of travelling back in time and dealing with very, sort of esoteric type themes, and very kind of strange. But it also had a very Freemasonic theme, because it was concerning the police. And in the office of the police, the lighting in the ceiling was the black and white checkerboards. But in that Ashes to Ashes, the car was quite famous in it. It was called the Quattro, because it's set back in the early 80s, and it had this macho policeman called Gene Hunt, played by the actor Philip Glenister. And he famously had a car called the Audi Quattro, and he used to do chases in it, and it was all macho stuff. The number plate of that car was JLY 7, 5, and then the Roman numerals IV, so the Roman numerals for 4. So July the 7th, 2005, 4 bombs went off.
My God.
Now this is a very strange number plate.
Yes.
And I actually inquired to the BBC about this. They said that they couldn't answer me, and they put me onto Kudos Films. I phoned Kudos up, and the guy I spoke to said, yeah, it does sound a bit weird, doesn't it? He said, I'll get someone to contact you about it. No one did, but he gave me an email. I sent an email off, and they sent me, they just placated me with an email back saying, oh, we take all customer queries seriously. Thank you for your input, but unfortunately we can't answer your question. And then I wrote off to one of the directors about it, trying to get an answer, and they wouldn't reply either. Also, Kudos Films was part of is part of the Shine Media Group, and until about maybe 8 or 9 months ago, they were owned by Rupert Murdoch's daughter, Elizabeth Murdoch.
Oh my goodness!
So
that's that's very very worrying.
Yeah.
Especially since it lines up with the number of those terrible bombs on the underground.
Yeah.
Just wipe the rain off the lens. The thing is, this brings us into an interesting subject, because the Illuminati, or whatever you choose to call them, who carry out these kind of attacks, seem to be they are obsessed with symbolism, putting hidden messages on things, occult, giving secret clues beforehand, things like that. They seem to, for whatever reason, it seems to be ingrained in their psychology. It's almost hardwired that they do this. Now, a few days ago, a crop circle appeared in somewhere in the heartland, the heartland, the crop circle heartland, the sort of West Country, Wiltshire area, which had encoded in it, apparently, if this is incorrect, the date of the 4th of August and the time 7:46 p.m. and 54 seconds. Now, I don't know what that means, but I mean, I'm going to be at the Exopolitics conference when that happens, but this is in the middle of the Olympics, and some people have been talking about how it relates to the Millennium Dome and the gymnastics tournament. Is that correct?
Yeah, there was a blog put out, and there's a couple of people who are into the numerology of it, and they thought that the most likely time to do a false flag terror attack would be at the Dome on, I think it's Saturday, August the 4th.
First day of the Exopolitics conference.
And what they were going on about was, as well as the numerology, there was that's where the gymnastics and I think trampolining are taking place. Yeah. So you're going to have, a lot of young girls out there, young virgins, if you like, for sacrifice, which is what these sick people are into, who carry out these terror attacks.
And of course, gymnastics is essentially a female-dominated sport in which the participants are usually young teenagers. Actually, I think when you get to about 16, you're almost past it. So, I mean, this is on this toxic brownfield site in East London. Now, I've said before in one of my previous videos how the Dome as I said, the Dome and the obelisk of One Canada Place are a sort of sexual pair. The Dome is a female sexual symbol, the obelisk is a male sexual symbol, and these things are put close together, as often the case. If you watch my interviews with Heidi King on We Are Change Watford, I'll put a link in the description box, you'll see we talk more about that. Apparently, I heard Tony Blair was very, very closely involved with that Dome. Have you heard about that?
I don't know about Blair being... I think Mandelson was.
Oh, just as bad.
And Lord Faulkner. I think Lord Faulkner was. Yeah. I mean, they're all immense crooks.
Definitely, yeah.
And they're the real puppets for the elites behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, Mandelson's on the record as hanging out with the Rothschilds loads of times, but Blair as well. But I'm not sure about Blair's involvement with the Dome.
Yeah. Interestingly, and this brings us on to an interesting subject, because a young man called Rick Clay was very, very much involved in decoding and analysing some of the symbology to do with this event here and some of the surrounding area as well. Now, it's a very, very long, complicated business, but if you go onto YouTube and put in Rick Clay, you'll find all his interviews on Red Ice Radio are there, where he discusses it all in detail. Now, tragically, Rick Clay died soon after those interviews were completed in circumstances some people feel is suspicious. I'm not certain there, but what do you know about Rick Clay and his work, Chris?
I'm not an expert. I have watched his Red Ice Creation interview, so that's all I really know. And there was so much information in there, I haven't taken a lot of it in, that I can recite. I know he talked about the names of the roads around the site being very occultish, biblical type names, like I think Great Eastern sort of, which is like the Great Eastern Cross or something like that, and Carpenter's Road, this sort of thing. So, but there's a lot of very good information there. I do happen to think Rick was taken out, or something's happened to him that we haven't been told.
It can't be ruled out, can it?
I don't think the suicide story, it doesn't resonate with me at all that a young man like that would do it. Apparently his mum said that he did, but who knows?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes these people get got out and told to shut their mouths.
It can't be ruled out. If someone is a threat, they will do it if they have to. I suppose the interesting part of what he discovered was, as we've been saying, that they are hardwired for the occult, for a sort of occult knowledge. They are obsessed with it. They're absolutely obsessed with this entire thing. So it's always important to bear that in mind while you're watching these events on TV. I'm going to watch them on TV. I'm not going to come to the event. In fact, I'm going to not come near London during the course of the event. As I say, we have, so to summarise, we have a military lockdown. We have toxic waste. We have esoteric symbolism and occult knowledge. We have clues in the media. We have rumours of aliens coming from the alternative and now from the mainstream with Nick Pope. So I think that covers everything, doesn't it, Chris?
Yeah, I just like to say, I'll just finish off for me, and I just say, don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat, don't sell drugs. Your government doesn't like competition, okay?
Very true. That's true. They have a monopoly on those things, and killing as well.
Yeah, and terror attacks.
Yeah. That's it. Right, well, that is the Olympic Stadium here in Stratford, East London. All getting ready now. It's now the 10th of June, so not long now till the big event. Thank you for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.